What's older than we think? Stonehenge. It predates the oldest pyramid in Egypt by nearly 300 years. Always the first wonder in a civ. It would be nice if the AI would let me grab it for once. But nope. I've even had a game where Shaka, from the fucking Zulus, built it before me. Beer. It's one of the oldest prepared drinks in the world. It not only predates every civilization but actually contributed to their creation. It's a tale as old as time. Getting fucking wasted to forget your problems. Tale as old as time, bees as old as wine, beauty of the East. Water. That water you're drinking is as old as the earth. Fax machines. They were invented in 1843, before the telephone. https://www.thoughtco.com/history-of-the-fax-machine-1991379 right square bracket open bracket http://www.thoughtco.com history of the fax machine 1,991,379. Oxford University. It's older than the Aztec Empire. I think this one is actually a reverse of the question. The Aztec Empire is much more recent than most people think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the surprise in this fact comes from the confusion between Aztecs and Mayans. If you didn't know the time period, you could understand the confusion. I don't know if this counts, but dinosaurs lived on the earth a lot longer than most people think. When you think of dinosaurs, you think of their extinction, but they roamed the earth for 165 million years. Compare that to our 6 million and it's almost mind-boggling. At least edit. The modern form of humans is 200,000 years old, but if we include our humanoid ancestors, we've been here 6 million years. Edit 2. I get it. Dinosaurs are still around. What I meant to say was the dinosaur era. Also, dinosaurs like the Stegosaurus were as far apart in time from the T-Rex as the T-Rex is from our time. It's even better than that. We're about 16 million years closer to the last Tyrannosaurus than the first Tyrannosaurus was to the last Stegosaurus. For a lot of us, ourselves, I've known for a while that I'm older now than my mom and dad were when I was born. But the other day, I realized I actually have memories of them when they were younger than I am now. That's proper weird to think about and really made me think I'm a lot older than I feel. That said, my parents are older than I think too. They're only a few years away from the age I remember my nana and granddad being. Brain surgery. In 1997, archaeologists discovered an ancient tomb in the French village of Ensachim from 5000 BC, which contained the decomposing body of a 50-year-old man with holes in his skull. After a thorough examination, it was determined that the holes, located near the frontal lobe, were caused by a type of surgery, not by forced trauma, and the operation appears to have been successful because the wounds healed before the patient's death. To this day, however, researchers cannot say for sure what exactly the surgery was trying to fix. To this day, however, researchers cannot say for sure what exactly the surgery was trying to fix. Bet the guy had it done because he had ancient baby shark stuck in his head too long. This might have been trepanation. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/trepanning. The deliberate practice of drilling a hole into the skull for medical reasons. For example, headaches, epilepsy, head trauma, mental disorders, letting out evil spirits, etc. The oldest evidence of trepanning comes from the Neolithic period 12,000 years ago. Escalators have been around since 1859, though they were called rotating stairs. Yet the US state of Wyoming still only has 2 of them. Granted, it's not like Wyoming has enough people to really need any more. The electric car. What is likely the first human carrying electric vehicle with its own power source was tested along a Paris street in April 1881 by French inventor Gustave Trouve. The first crude electric car was built in the 1830s, but it was essentially a semi-functioning model. The electric car was a direct competitor to gasoline-powered vehicles until the 1920s, when roads got better. People started driving further than the range of an electric car, and the world started finding major oil reserves. Weren't the first electric cars using lead-acid batteries? If so, when the batteries eventually discharged, did people go somewhere to replace their battery with a new one? Ancient Egyptians who built the pyramids. The ancient Egyptians were as old to the ancient Romans as the ancient Romans are to us. Cleopatra is chronologically closer to us than she is to when the pyramids were built. Woolly mammoths were still alive during the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. They died out about a millennium after its completion. The name Tiffany, it dates back to the 12th century and has actually led to a thing in writing called the Tiffany problem, because you can have a well-researched historical novel that people just don't buy into because you named your 12th century peasant Tiffany. It just sounds laughably anachronistic. The Tiffany problem makes me think of Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice and the name Jessica. He wanted the love interest, who was Jewish, to have a super exotic name, so he invented the name Jessica. The name has become so common since then that it's totally lost its effect. Shakespeare also randomly invented the word gossip because he needed to define a bunch of wives in the town talking shit and spreading rumors, and now it's part of common English language. Tiffany, it's Greek, too. Theophania is the root. Google, Reddit, YouTube. It's hard to imagine that they already have been around for 15 years, with Google actually being around 20 years old. An entire generation has now grown up that cannot remember that it wasn't always there. Netflix, I feel like it is only a few years old, but it was invented in 1997. Contact lenses. Leonardo da Vinci had the idea of contact lenses in 1508, and the first successful contact lenses were made in 1888. In so many fields, he was way ahead of his time. The guy truly was a visionary. He literally invented a diving suit and a paraglider long before they were actually invented. Scientists even tested whether his designs worked as intended, and they did. It's insane how far ahead of his time he was. Trees. There are a lot of trees that are way older than you would expect. The oldest tree recorded on this planet is Methuselah, which is about 4k years old, but I'm pretty sure there are older ones out there that we aren't aware of. Edit. After a quick research, found out that there's an older one discovered in Inyo National Forest that's about 5k years old. We'll probably keep finding older ones in the coming years. Edit 2. Quoting replies by you Vinny Lam and you Yandy the Gnome as I stand corrected. There's an even older tree in Sweden, called Old Jicko. It is approximately 9,550 years old. There's Pando, the giant super colony of quaking aspen trees. Though the individual trunks may only be a few hundred years old, the root system is over 40k years old. The ancient Romans, well, the wealthy ones, had central heating in their homes. You can actually still see the pipes in some of the buildings at Herculaneum. On top of that, if you ever get the chance to see how Roman homes were designed, window placement, ceilings, etc., to naturally cool themselves, it's nothing short of incredible. Do you have any good book suggestions on the subject? It's a subject I've been meaning to learn about. What I think is really cool from Herculaneum is that they're able to recover writing from the libraries there. The pyroclastic flow didn't turn the papyrus to ash. It preserved in a very damaged state, but thanks to lasers we can see the words that were once visible on the pages. Flushing toilets date all the way back to the Indus River Valley civilization, back in 2000 BC. Ancient Minoans, 3000-1100 BCE, had hot and cold running water and an extensive sewage system. Nintendo. This company was actually created in 1889. Nintendo was founded in 1889. Van Gogh painted Starry Night in 1889. Adolf Hitler was born in 1889. Hitler made the worst video games. That's why nobody likes him now. Social media. Wealthy ancient Romans had a system where they used slaves as scribes and messengers in order to share gossip and art, poetry and news updates with friends in their social circle. Augustus. Call slave. I want to share this joke with Pernatus. Prefect Tiberius, you have been tagged in the public forum in a mosaic of the drunken revelries on the Lupercal. Sharks. Sharks as an animal are older than trees. The year 1990. We are as close to it as we are the year 2050.